Turning Hinds County into a joke.
16 WAPT's Meg Pace is live tonight from Chancery Court, where leaders say they won't stand for the behavior out of Supervisor Kenny Stokes. Meg.
Well, Stephanie, yo mama, those two words issued by Supervisor Stokes here at a board meeting on Monday, and then allegedly again later that afternoon to a county employee. Now, the board president says he won't stand for it.
Yo mama, yo mama.
The two words that Supervisor Robert Graham worries will turn Hinds County into a joke.
Image is everything. We are trying to constantly invite different businesses. Economic development is centered around your image.
The outburst from Supervisor Kenneth Stokes came during Monday's board meeting. Stokes fired strong words off at Mindy Morton, an attorney hired to represent homeowners opposed to a landfill expansion. But Stokes' verbal attacks allegedly didn't end there. County employee Sharon Sims sent a two-page memo to county leaders Tuesday describing a heated exchange with Stokes Monday afternoon. The argument came just a few hours after Sims spoke before the board about changes to employee health insurance.
There were some statements made to me that were inappropriate on the part of the supervisor.
Sims says Stokes told her, quote, "At least I ain't no black person who want to be white. At least I ain't no Uncle Tom. Yo mama, Uncle Tom." In the memo, Sims says she believes Stokes was trying to intimidate her, but she's prepared to move on. Stokes and the other supervisors got their own memo Wednesday, reminding them of proper conduct as elected officials.
As long as he remains within being professional, I'm fine. Other than that, I have the Sheriff's Department at the front door.
We tried to reach Stokes Wednesday, but our calls were not returned. But Monday, he told us he won't apologize.
I stand behind what I say, and I'm not going to apologize for standing up as a man. And that day would never come with Kenny Stokes going to back down.
Now, I asked Supervisor Robert Graham what will happen if there's another outburst like what happened Monday. He told me he does not believe this will be a problem again. Darren and Stephanie.
Well, Meg, does that county employee want an apology?
You know, when I was speaking with Sharon Sims today, she told me she's worked here for the county for 5 years, and before that, she worked for the city when Stokes was a city councilman. She told me she knows Stokes well enough to not expect an apology from him.
All right, Meg Pace, thank you.
Parents in Lincoln County are fired up tonight over the ACLU threatening legal action over school prayer there. The ACLU and the ACLU of Mississippi sent a letter today to the Lincoln County School District demanding the district stop having prayer and other religious activities during school events. The letter claims the West Lincoln Attendance Center in Brookhaven is violating the U.S. Constitution. But parents and students say they're just exercising their constitutional rights.
I believe that my freedom of religion is just as important as the next person's.
It gives us hope. Everyone has their own beliefs. That's just one of ours.
We talked to Superintendent Terry Brister, who says he got the letter today and has no comment. We're told the district is conducting an investigation to see if any policies were broken. The ACLU says it'll give the school district until October the 26th to decide how it plans to address the issue. Authorities have arrested a man they said was plotting to blow up the Federal Reserve building in Manhattan. The FBI says the suspect was arrested in a sting operation after he parked a van filled with what he believed were explosives outside the building. ABC's Jeff Greenblatt reports.
Prosecutors say 21-year-old Qazi Mohammed Rezwanul Hassan Nafis didn't just target the New York Federal Reserve, but tried to blow it up. Alleging early in the morning, Nafis packed 1,000 pounds of explosives into a van, connected a detonator, parked it outside the Federal Reserve Bank, and then walked over to a nearby hotel. He was arrested after trying to detonate the bomb via his cell phone in a serious attempt to cause mass destruction.
When you obtain a truck and you bring it to the site of a major federal facility and you try to detonate it, that goes way past aspirational to me.
Authorities say he moved to the U.S. in January from Bangladesh with the express goal of carrying out an attack and wanted to hit the stock exchange first before seeing too much security and moving to the Federal Reserve instead. But what he didn't know is that one of the people he contacted was an undercover FBI agent who supplied him with 20 50-pound bags of what Nafis believed were explosives, but were in fact fakes. At his first court appearance, he didn't speak other than briefly to his attorney. Early reports say he acted alone, but boasted about having strong terror connections overseas.
He said that he did have contact with al-Qaeda officials back in Bangladesh, and that he was a very strong supporter of al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, which operates out of Yemen.
Authorities say nearly the entire plot unfolded under the surveillance of the FBI and the NYPD in an elaborate sting operation, saying at one point Nafis even told an undercover agent that he planned to kill the president. Mark Greenblatt, ABC News, New York.
And federal authorities say the public was never in any danger during the operation.
2 former Jackson officers admitted in federal court they were willing to protect cocaine shipments coming through the city. Moniette Jefferson and Terrence Jenkins pleaded guilty to a bribery count, that is. They protected those shipments while in uniform and using their squad cars.
Any comments whatsoever, sir?
Watch out.
King said nothing as he left federal court. Moniette Jefferson is in custody. Both took a deal in exchange for a promise not to appeal this case. They were caught in a phony drug deal set up by undercover agents in June 2010. The U.S. attorney says they violated the public's trust.
There are a number of police officers who took an oath, and they basically took an oath to protect and serve the community. And in actuality, what they did was these 2 police officers violated that trust.
Like I said, again, it's a sad day. He screwed up. He knows he screwed up. He's going to have to serve a large amount of time in the federal penitentiary, and he just wants to say he's sorry.
He has been embarrassed by his actions. I don't think he fully understood or appreciated the consequences. And from the outset, for a young person, he just got caught up in something that he should not have.
Jefferson and Jenkins will be sentenced January 7th. A third suspect, Anthony Payne, goes on trial November 6th. A Jackson pastor is accused of having a relationship with an underage girl at his church. Greater Fairview Baptist Church leaders say Pastor Danny Hollins has taken a temporary leave of absence. We called Pastor Hollins, and he referred us to his attorney, who says, quote, "My client vehemently denies all of the accusations and allegations," end quote. He says no charges have been filed against Hollins at this time, and he took a voluntary leave of absence from the church.
In Commitment 2012 tonight, President Obama and Mitt Romney took their campaigns today to a couple of battleground states where the election is up for grabs. Both are trying to capitalize on the energy from last night's feisty debate. President Obama made Iowa his first post-debate campaign stop and joked about his performance last night.
I'm still trying to figure out, how to get the hang of this thing, debating. But we're working on it. We'll keep on improving as time goes on. I've got one left.
Mitt Romney was just as upbeat in the swing state of Virginia, where he told supporters he enjoyed Wednesday's rematch with the president.
Love these debates. These things are great. And I think it's interesting that the president still doesn't have an agenda for a second term.
Political analysts compared the debate to a prize fight, with both opponents exchanging blows, stepping all over each other, and ignoring the audience and the moderator. Instant polls and most pundits, though, awarded the debate to the president. And the candidates get one more chance to debate next Monday. They will tackle foreign policy at Lynn University in Boca Raton, Florida. It starts at 8 p.m. right here on 16 WAPT. Immigration was one of the most talked about issues from last night's debate, and some here in Mississippi were watching very closely. Governor Mitt Romney says he won't grant amnesty to anyone here illegally. He says the president hasn't done enough to reform immigration. President Obama says he's tried to get cooperation from Congress on the issue. We talked to a student who says the president's program could keep him legally here in the country for 2 years.
President Obama, he's been trying to help us, so leaning towards him.
Romney has the same plan that I have. First, secure the borders. And we've talked about that. Every president's talked about that, but they do nothing about it.
Governor Phil Bryant says he's planning to crack down on the issue next year. A media war is being waged in a state Supreme Court race. Incumbent William Waller Jr. is sticking to his record in TV spots. Earl Banks has launched a spot on YouTube he calls Wallergate. He's criticizing Waller for accepting Political Action Committee donations, even though Banks took PAC contributions as a state lawmaker.
He's setting a horrible example of this by saying that we will take PAC money, we will take special influence money. We as judges and judicial candidates do not need to do that.
I've got a record of over 500 opinions out there. I think I've got a solid product. I think I work for law to be predictable, for the public to have some assurance of what their rights are.
There is a big difference in campaign cash. Waller has raised more than $325,000. Banks has collected over $45,000.
Informed that, in fact, he had heard some screams, apparently, apparent screams from the building.
Several people are killed in a bar fire in Denver. Why investigators don't blame the fire, for those flames rather, for their deaths.
Blessed to be alive, man. You know, sorry the kid had to get shot, but it's my life for his life, man, and he should have never came in here trying to rob us.
And later, the robber who picked the wrong pawn shop to steal from.
It has been a nasty night for those storms in far north Mississippi. We're getting reports of damage, and here is a wide view of the storms now on Live Storm Shield 16, stretching from Greenville up toward Tupelo. When will the rain move into the metro area, and how low will temperatures drop after a cold front moves on by? We're going to talk about that after the break. You are watching 16 WAPT News.
The Associated Press Best Newscast in Mississippi and an Emmy Award for Best Newscast in the Southeast region. This is 16 WAPT News, the one to watch.